I'm the co-owner with my son Matthew Burkitt of Catherine Jones Jewellery. And Catherine Jones is not only a real person, but she's my mother, or sadly we lost her just before Christmas. But she was the progenitrix of this company, and she founded it in 1963. So next year it's our 50th anniversary. My mother was a subtle, quiet little genius. She said to me and to Matthew, my son, she said, "You always have to show people things they've never seen before." And that was her motivation when she started the business back in '63. She started it because she and my dad our company's based in Cambridge, university town, immensely famous worldwide and all the rest of it. I think it's the biggest brand name in the country, so it's huge. And at the end of every year, the academic year, the colleges have balls. They're called May balls, although they're held in June. And my mum and dad, in 1962-ish, were invited to a May ball. My mother had the most glorious ball gown because that's what you wore, but she couldn't find an interesting pair of earrings. So she thought, if I can't find an interesting pair of earrings that are distinctive enough, then nobody else can. And that was the genesis of the business. And from that point, and she just inherited a small sum of money from an uncle who'd had a coffee farm in East Africa. She said, I could buy a mink, but I get allergic. That's no good. I could buy a car, and I'd probably drive it into a ditch. Why don't I buy some jewellery and see if I can do something with it? And that's where it started. We're constantly trying to show people things they've never seen before. And linking to IJL here, what we try to do, in fact, I go to a number of different trade fairs in the year, but I always try to see whether we're ahead of the trend rather than with the trend or behind the curve. Because if we are, we're not staying faithful to the commitment that started the business. And if you've got something which is a real, genuine USP, which is motivated from the heart and from the mind and from the integrity, then you can't go wrong. You've got to check it. Always got to check back. Are you doing the right thing? Are you really absolutely sure that you're being true to it? Do you need to review it or not? And when you're confident that you're still doing the right thing and still being daring enough and bold enough, then carry on. I still have to be persuaded to find new things. I found one lovely little company in Ireland who are making buttons. Absolutely fantastic little bracelets with buttons on. And we have an Irish connection. My mother was originally an Irish woman. So you kind of go there with your heart as well, don't you? And I think that they're reinventing the, the charm bracelet. But they're doing it going back historically. They're looking at how buttons used to be designed and threading the catch through the buttons to make it close. It's really clever. It's really, really clever. I'm generally here for at least 2 days. Day one is probably to call in on people with whom we already work, see what they're doing, to see if they're developing new things. Generally, we're in touch with them on a regular basis anyway. Once you stock somebody who's really good and who is pushing, and we push together, which is the great thing. They ask us about what they should do next, which is incredibly flattering, immensely flattering. And we work with each other to say, why don't you think about that? How about that? And so forth. So I tend on the first day to go and visit people that we know. And then day two tends to be a buying day. But also I'm actually speaking tomorrow at one of the great debates on something completely different. Online, because we're also an online retailer. We make our own collections as well, which is quite nice and very individual. So that is www.catherinejones.com.